My name is Dre Prenick, and I am an academic advisor in the Office of the Registrar. You are at Preparing to Graduate, Successful Strategies for Upper Year Students. Joining me today to co-present is Claire from the Career Center. So I'm going to start off the presentation and then we'll pass it off to Claire. But we're going to go over some important things from the registrarial perspective about graduating, and then Claire will go into some questions that you might have about what's next for you in your career and your progression after university. We'll try to save questions till the end, but if something does come up, you're welcome to put it in the chat and we will be monitoring that throughout the session. All right, next slide, please. So yes, the session will be recorded. So do make sure that your microphone is muted. Use the chat option or wait till the end if you would like to ask a question. You can also use the raise hand feature at the end when we ask for questions. Try to keep your questions general. We don't want to know your student number or any identifying information, but you can ask whatever it is that you'd like. Just try not to be too personal. And that's it. Please close your smartphones so that we aren't distracted. So today, what we're hoping you'll get out of the session is understanding how to confirm your degree and your program completion, figuring out your next steps for graduation, and identify some options that you might have after you leave U of T. So that might be about job search or further education. All right, so I'm going to start with telling you all how to do your degree check. So hopefully you're all familiar with Degree Explorer by now. So this is what we do use to figure out if you've completed your degree. So we will go into Degree Explorer and make sure that we see a pending or complete beside all of your requirements. So if you haven't yet done that, make sure you all go into Degree Explorer and make sure that you see those two things. Pending means that assuming you pass the class that you're currently enrolled in, you will have completed that particular requirement. Completed means it's already done. And if you see any incompletes on your record, something is missing. And that would be the time to book an appointment with an academic advisor or perhaps your program advisor in your department. So if it's specifically a question about CCT or about philosophy, you may want to go to your departmental advisor to find out why something's showing as incomplete. And then obviously, if we need to make changes to your schedule for the winter term to make sure everything is done and you are able to graduate in June, there's still a little bit of time to do that. So hopefully that makes it clear. If you're on a wait list for something, you can also go into the planner part of Degree Explorer and see what happens if you are able to get into that course for winter, if it will complete your requirements. Okay, moving on. So here's an example of how Degree Explorer may look. So pending, again, you'll see that assuming you've passed all the classes you're enrolling in, you will be completed. Complete means you're already done and everything is finished. I know some students sometimes get anxious around the progress bar. So you can see there it says pending, but it still looks partway undone. So don't pay too much attention to that little bar. It's not exactly accurate, just so you know. So you may have questions too about what kind of degree you may be leaving with. So I'm going to give a couple of examples here of how to determine that. So in our first example, our student is taking a GIS major, a computer science minor, and a business science and entrepreneurship minor. So these programs are all in the sciences, and that gives them the ability to graduate with a honors bachelor's of science. In our second example, a student is studying criminology, French, and economics. These are all arts programs, and so that student will be leaving with an honors bachelor's of arts. Now, our third scenario, the student is doing a major in CCT, minor in computer science, and a minor in stats. So their two minors in science carry equal weight to their major in arts. So that student, when it's time to graduate, will have the option to decide whether they want their degree to say honors bachelor's of arts or honors bachelor's of science. And so the same would be true too if you were in a double major. So if one is a science major and one is an arts major, you will also have the option to decide what you want your degree to say. So how do you go about requesting graduation? So you're going to request that on Acorn. It is not available yet. I know some students are worried that they've missed the deadline, but it will become available, we just told, on November 11th. And that window will be open until the end of January. So sometime during that period, you will be required to go into Acorn and tell us that you want to graduate in June. And then we'll make sure that we add you to that convocation list. And then in the winter, we'll check to make sure you've passed all of your courses and in fact met all of your requirements. And then of course, you'll be able to graduate in June. I don't think we know the date of the June ceremony yet, but that will be coming soon. So some things that you might need to do. Make sure that your name is correct on Acorn. There is a personal information change form. So if you've changed your name or something looks wrong, you can go and correct that before it shows up on your degree. Update your mailing address. Make sure that you have paid any outstanding fines. So if you have outstanding fines with the Health and Counseling Center, with the library, these things can prevent you from graduating. So do make sure that everything is all paid up. And if you aren't sure or this gets confusing, go check our graduation checklist. There's a link there, or if you Google graduation checklist UTM, you'll definitely get to it. And we'll tell you all the things to do to make sure that you are prepared for graduation. If you go onto that website today, it still has information about November's graduation, but once the November convocation has taken place, it will get updated with dates relevant to you guys. If you're looking for graduate graduation photos, that is done through our student union. So UTMSU manages that piece. So there's a link there, or you can also go to the UTMSU website for more information about getting your grad photos taken. So some caveats. So what things can prevent you from graduating in June? So one would be if you have a deferred exam and you end up missing it and have to request a further deferral. So again, if you haven't completed all of your courses by June, that would prevent you from graduating. If you have been accused of an academic offense and there is a GWR appearing on your transcript, you are also unable to graduate until that case has been resolved. If you have any outstanding fees, so again, parking, library, health and counseling, any number of fees that may be on your account, make sure they're all paid up. If you have a letter of permission. So if you've studied elsewhere and you're waiting for those grades to get transferred back to UTM and perhaps that didn't get processed in time or submitted on time, that could be something that prevents you from graduating. So if you're doing an exchange, sometimes things like that can get tricky. So just be aware of that. But once all of those things are completed and done, then you would be eligible to graduate. Next slide, please. So some things to consider. So some students will ask us, should I delay graduation? Should I take more courses? I want to improve my GPA. I'm considering applying to grad school. So you can delay graduation. So if you're like, I want to take an extra course in summer and see if I can bump up my GPA and graduate in November, that is an option to you. Keep in mind that you can also take courses as a non-degree student. So even after you graduate, you can continue taking courses at UTM. They will still appear in your transcript and they will still count on there and be visible. So you can improve your GPA even once you've graduated and got your diploma. The only caveat is you cannot make changes to your record after you've graduated. And certain things that are available to degree students are not available to non-degree students. So for example, if you decide to take a course as a non-degree student, you cannot use credit, no credit on it. You cannot use second attempt for credits. So some of those tools that are available to you as a student right now will disappear if you're studying as a non-degree student. So if you're going to repeat a course you've previously passed and want to use SAC, that would be a reason to delay graduation. Some students may be finishing, sorry, can we just go back to the other slide really quickly? Some students may be finishing their degree in the fall semester, but there will be no convocation until the winter, until the end of winter in June. So you may be actually done your degree by Christmas time, but you won't get your diploma until there's actually a ceremony. So if that is the case, you can request something called a graduation information letter. And that will allow you or allow people to know that you finished your degree. So if you need it for employment purposes, that may be an option to you. So there are a couple things that may prevent you from graduating, and that is if your CGPA is below 1.85. So there is still an option to graduate if your GPA is in good standing. So you're above a 1.5, but below 1.85. You can still graduate without honors. So that would require a ticket through Ask Registrar requesting that. And keep in mind, if you do opt into this option, you can still take courses as a non-degree student. And if you ever are able to raise your GPA above a 1.85, then you would be able to upgrade your degree type to an honors degree. All right, next slide. Here's some resources. So I'll leave the screen up for a minute. But if you're looking for some extra support, you can check out the academic calendar, our graduation checklist, the Registrar, graduation photography, and our important dates website. And Degree Explorer is not here, but I would definitely encourage you to look at Degree Explorer. All right, next slide. I'm going to pass it off to Claire now.
Okay, Trey, thank you very much. My name is Claire Smith-Victor, and I am one of the career counselors in the Career Center. So, getting ready to graduate, I want you to begin to think about you and reflect on the kinds of things that are important as you move forward in this next phase. And it depends on where you are in this circle. I'm not sure what this is, but you can begin to maybe, once you've done your degree, you can begin to assess yourself. What skills do you have? And how do you want to express those skills? What experiences do you have that you want to share either with an employer or if you're going to grad school? Look at the careers that may be available to you. And then would you like to pursue further learning, which means are you going to grad school or not? So I think what I'd like you to begin to think about is what you have, what you want people to know about you, whether it's work or grad school or professional school, medicine, law. What careers, if you haven't decided, how can we help you to explore some careers? How can we help you to express your skills? And so this you can find on the Career Center website. And so if you are going to, if you haven't thought about what you want to pursue after graduation, then hopefully this slide will help you to think about it. When you're looking at pursuing work, then you have to think about the external factors and the internal factors, your skills, your values, your interests, and your personal style. Those are all internal factors. And if you're not sure about certain things, we've got some assessments that can help you to identify some of these things. For example, if you go on the Career Center website, there are links to it's called skills articulation. And that way you can sort of go through a number of skills to identify the ones that you have. In terms of interests, there is the Holland's Code that will then help you to identify areas of interests. And then we look at the external factors, which is the labor market, what's happening in the labor market. And we've got information on that on the Career Center. And that's important if you're thinking about a career. What educational background you need? Do you need to go and into professional school? Do you need to go and do a postgrad diploma? or will you be doing a master's? And then you have to think about, as you consider career options, work and leisure, is the career that you're going after going to hamper your time in terms of being able to spend time with family and friends? And then you have to think about significant other. Sometimes we have students whose parents, family members, I don't want to say pressure, but sort of indicate that there are certain careers that they may be better in. And so all of those things are factors that would influence your career choice. This is a question, and it's also a workshop. Now that you're graduating, what's next? And I would urge each of you to attend because it helps you to identify your target area and learn how to market yourself. And it helps you to identify various job search methods, and there are quite a few of those. Look at the hidden job market, and then effectively match your skills to the needs of employers and sort of help you to create a really good job plan. I should tell you that moving forward, we have QR codes. There are QR codes that you can scan that will take you into the various topics that I'm talking about. There is, I know this says January 26th, but there is a workshop coming up soon for this, now that you're graduating, what's next? A lot of what we offer is on the CLN, and this, you can scan the QR code to look at our workshops and our events. We have a lot of networking events that we bring in perhaps alumni or employers that you may want to talk to. In January, we have an employment fair that you may want to sort of schedule in your calendar to attend. So here are some further options. You could consider graduate school. Some students consider professional school, and then some students go into a post-grad diploma. All of these things are options that we in the Career Center can help you to decide on and to prepare for. You may want to scan the code for further education. And if you don't scan the code, when you go into the Career Center website, in the right-hand corner, it says menu. And when you go to the menu, then you can, A to Z, there's an A to Z alphabet, and you can click on that, and it will take you to whatever topic you're looking for or whatever subject you're looking for. So what can career counselors do? While we do a lot, we're not miracle workers, but we can certainly help you to sort of gain some clarity on what you want to do next in terms of whether you want to go to the workforce or to further education, and help you to understand what to do after you graduate and what to do with a career, what you want, a career you want to pursue. And then if you are going on to grad school, you are going to require to present certain things like a CV and a personal statement. And so we help students we don't write the document for you, but we certainly help you to write the document in terms of critiquing the document, your documents. And so again, we've got tip sheets on our website that sort of gives you guidance on how to write those documents, how to develop the documents. And then you make an appointment with a career counselor, and we sort of critique it for you and sort of give you some positive, constructive feedback. In the Career Center, we also have employment strategists, and they mainly work with students in terms of preparing them, well, for work. They provide job search planning, sort of where do you find work, where's the hidden job market. If you have interviews, we help you to prepare for that. We offer mock interviews for students who perhaps are a bit nervous and want to be able to do their best. And then we offer networking opportunities. There are networking workshops that sort of help students to gain that confidence to talk to people and understand what do you say when you first meet somebody. And then we bring in employers that students can practice with. There is the recent graduate opportunities program. And maybe that is part of how we begin to get students to into employment. If you can't find work and you have graduated and you have been looking, you can then apply to the RGOP, short-term recent graduate opportunity program. And they take you through a number of sessions, help you with your resume, and help you to meet employers. Again, this is on our website. Two years after graduation, that's how long you can get help from the Career Center. All of the services are available to graduates. And I do believe if you go on to graduate school, then that assistance continues. So in terms of job growth for the next 10 years, these are the occupations that have above average positive outlook. And these are just some of the occupations. The majority of other occupations or other examples you can find on the Career Center website. Again, scan the QR code and it will take you there. So here are some things to think about in terms of skills employers are looking for. It's important when active listening, and this is a way in which you can show that you're an active listener is during the job interview, because you have to listen for questions, but not only what is said, but what is asked, but what's not being asked. They look for critical thinkers. You can solve complex problems, and individuals with technical proficiencies. And a lot of this, yes, you may have done some problem solving during your academic years, but it would help if you have been doing something during the summer. Maybe you've been working, you have done PEY, you've done an internship, and then you can highlight those skills in your resume. All of our events and workshops are on CLN. And so I encourage you to check it out. We are in the new career hub, just on the same level with Timmy's, because you can walk through that space and go out on the other side of Davis. We're the last door on the right. So I invite you to come in and, make an appointment and get the help that you need. Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, there are some questions in the chat, are they?
I don't see any unless you got a
No.
direct message.
No, I didn't. I don't see any either.
But yeah, that's the end of our formal presentation. So if you have any questions from a careers perspective, Claire's here. From an academic perspective, I'm here. So we can take the next few minutes just to answer your questions. So again, you're welcome to put them in the chat, raise your hand, and we'll ask you to unmute. And this part won't be recorded for future viewing. Okay, one question came in. I think it's for you, Claire. Will there be any LinkedIn professional photo sessions done this year?
There should be, and I'm not sure. Usually it happens around this time. And I'm not sure when that will be. But I would suggest that you keep checking CLN because, sorry, keep checking our website because then we would advertise it there. Maybe they're waiting until the career fair when students can, more students will be able to access it.
Mm-hmm. And that's a really cool opportunity.
Yeah.
Any common questions that you get from students who are about to graduate that maybe we can foresee our audience
Well,
might have?
students come in and the question is, what do I do with my degree? And so I find the question challenging because there's a lot that goes into, you get the degree, but then what you do with the degree has to do with who you are. Like my first slide, for example, what skills do you have? What skills did you sort of develop within academia and then outside? Were you volunteering? Were you part of a club? Did you have a leadership role? There are so many things that go into that. And so what we try to work with graduates, we try to do an assessment and sort of develop a profile and then look at some themes that they can begin to look at careers within those themes. I have 2 assessments that I work with that really help students to get thinking. It doesn't tell them what to do, but it certainly gives them ideas of places that they can go and do some further research. But that's the most question. I don't know what to do with my degree.
I get that one sometimes too. And I would say I've seen students with degrees, and then they go off and do things that seem quite unrelated. So I saw a CCT graduate and she went off to work at a bank, a biology specialist who went off to be a marketing manager. So her work study experience and things that she was doing outside of the classroom gave her this marketing ability, I guess, or experience. And that's what she ended up doing and not using her biology degree. So it's quite likely that what you studied may not be what you end up doing in the future. So I would say have an open mind, and having those experiences outside of the classroom sometimes make a big difference.
I also want students to understand that there's no one career that leads from one program of study. Because you have to think, again, that as human beings, we're quite complex, and you may have skills that you want to use, which are unrelated to what you study.
Okay, there are a few questions coming in, so let me address the ones that I can address. So yes, you will be able to request graduation starting November 11th on Acorn until the last day of January. We will still accept late graduation bids after that. So if you missed it because you got admitted to a course late or something like that, there may still be an opportunity to get in after that date, but do your best to get your name, your request in by the end of January. And again, it makes no difference whether you do it on November 1st, or sorry, November 11th or the last day of January, but as long as you submit it during that window. The next question that came in from Lena is the only reason to take courses after graduating to raise your GPA. So yes, the most common reason I see people take courses after graduation is to raise their GPA. Or in some instances, students have realized that they want to do a nursing program and they hadn't considered it before and they're missing a required course. Or they want to go into speech pathology and their undergraduate degree didn't give them the right prerequisites in order to apply. So they may come back to do a specific course. Or they need a stats course, for example, to apply for a graduate program. So if it's a specific course or raising your GPA, that might be a reason to come back after graduation. Okay, next question. If we choose to take more courses after graduation, when would we need to enroll and how would the tuition payment be? Would we need to pay incidental fees? Yeah, so it basically works the same. So if you are enrolling in summer, you're still going to be an undergraduate student when that registration opens. So you're still getting priority enrollment and all of those good things. If you're waiting till September to graduate and to take more classes and you've already graduated, the main difference is you will have to wait until all the priority enrollment has ended and then you can add courses. So that is the main difference, but the payment will be the same unless you are in a deregulated program. You graduate and then you want to come back and just take a few more courses, then you would be paying the regulated fee. So your tuition could go down if you do that. So that may also be a reason to graduate and then take another course if you are in one of those deregulated programs. Do we know roughly when the graduation will be in June, beginning or late June? I have no idea. It has not yet been scheduled. I think it's anywhere from last year, I think it was between June 1st and June 21st. UTM was at the beginning last year, but I can't predict what next year's schedule will look like. So anytime during that kind of 3-week window. Can you apply for work studies after graduation? So I think if you mean the work study program, I believe you have to be a degree student. Do you know, Claire?
You have to be.
Yeah. So as a non-degree student, you do lose some of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next question from Princess. You mentioned all courses deferred exams must be completed by June if requesting graduation in June. Are students still allowed to take summer first term? No, so if you're graduating in June, all of your requirements must be completed by the end of the winter term. If you are taking courses in the May-June semester, it means that you are graduating in November. If you've completed all of your requirements, but you're taking an extra course as a non-degree student, they'll still show up in your transcript. You can still graduate in June. But if it's a course that you need to finish your degree, then you won't be eligible to graduate in June. So I hope that makes sense. If a GPA take after graduation, can it lower your GPA? Yes. So every course you take after graduation still shows up on your transcript. So if you come in and take a course as a non-degree student and fail it, it will bring down your GPA. So yeah, do be aware that it could go either way.
I just want to say something about the Career Center and how we help. If you are thinking of grad school and you would like our help in getting your personal statement ready, I would suggest that you begin to think about making an appointment. We are extremely busy with critiquing personal statements, and I have a feeling it's something like 3 weeks behind or 2 weeks behind. And so you may want to, and also with CVs also, you may want to think about making that appointment to get your work in.
I would echo that. It is a lot of work to put together a graduate program application. There's references, as she said, a personal statement, your resume. It is quite a bit of work, and leaving it to the last minute, it may be too late to get any kind of support, or even getting your transcript sent over to the university. Don't wait till the last minute.
And one more thing about graduation. On our website, we have examples of how to approach and write professors requesting references. And I would suggest that you should read that, because it's important to get that. Again, at least you let the professors know that, or you make the request early, because they have quite a few students asking for letters of reference. And so you may want to think about approaching your professors and getting that out there.
The next question that came in was about how to make an appointment. So I gave a link there to the Career Center's website about making appointments. So if you follow that link, you should get the right information.
Thank you.
And again, as she mentioned, you can use them for up to 2 years after graduation. So if you take some time to work first and then decide that you're applying, you can still use their services next year.
And we do offer virtual appointments. So if you can't make it, once you graduate and you can't make it to campus, that's fine.
You seem to be almost done. Like, there's no more questions coming through. I know graduation can be very exciting and scary at the same time. Trying to figure out what you're doing next is a big deal. So while you're here for this last year, do take advantage of the workshops and the networking and all of the services that the Career Center does offer. It may make your transition a little easier. I'm going to wait another maybe 2-3 minutes to see if any other questions come up, and then we'll probably end the session early.
Okay. I would just urge students to attend the Now That I'm Graduating, What's Next workshop, because it really does help you to focus on the what's next.